ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Life, Music, and Everything Else. I am your host, Sin. I just want to take the time out to thank everybody that tunes into the podcast. If you can, please go to the link, watch the video, and subscribe. I want to give a special shout out to Escape Star Visions. If you mention this podcast to them on the website, it's in the description below. 15% off any of your video production needs, whether you got a music video you shooting, you got a commercial you want, you got any kind of a wedding coming up, you want a highlight trailer, whatever it is that you may need for as video production wise. If you mention Life, Music, and Everything Else, you will get 15% off of your purchase, whatever that is. So shout out to the sponsors. Guests, I'm not going to even say a guest. After 2 episodes, you're not a guest. You're like family.
This is Mr. Provocative Ojore Calfani again with another L with my man Sin. Shout out to BOE.
Shout out BOE, Mr. Provocative. We got his live going right here. I'm going to have his link in the description too. So if you guys want to subscribe, that's all it is. It's a simple like. It's a simple press of a button to show your support. And we greatly appreciate it.
Much appreciated, fam.
We was off last week, you know?
Yeah, I know. I'm tired, man. I'm trying to get it back into the flow.
I know, but for an exciting reason, though. You know what I'm saying? Last week, we announced that, we announced and we released the trailer for the documentary Red Summer.
Red Summer, y'all.
We have to clap on that, crowd. We have to clap on that because that was something that we had talked about a couple of weeks before. And we went out, got some cool little footage for the trailer. We released it. And basically, Red Summer is a 6-part series on the Tulsa massacre that took place here.
1921. Look it up if you don't know.
Yes. There's so much about it that I didn't know starting out. And just by releasing the trailer, we met some wonderful people giving us great information, great advice on which way to go with starting this documentary, and it's been great so far.
It works to our advantage, I would say, too, because we are Tulsans now. Yeah. So we adopted in. We wasn't born natives, but we adopted in and we've been accepted in. So right now it's about getting everything we need together to produce something of quality and of truth.
Definitely. And I'm excited about it. It's I would say it's a little difficult going back reading and seeing all this stuff, but it's important to put it out. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely important. That's the goal, to put out Red Summer. Look for September 14th. Like I say, could be a 6-part series, could be a full-length documentary. So shout out to everybody that's helping in that. But we're gonna dive right into the podcast. First, excuse me. What do you think about the LeBron situation? We're opening the school.
Shout out to LeBron James.
Shout out LeBron.
If you have not heard, he has he built a school now in Cleveland of his native residence, and he has a lot of support behind him, and I think that it's a great thing, and it's a good look for us that we can educate and invest back into our kids.
It is free tuition, free uniforms, free lunch and snacks for the kids. Yeah,
and that's college tuition. That's not right. If you graduate, you go to college. He's paying it.
He's paying it. University of Akron. You know what I'm saying? Like, how huge is that? Like, man. That's super important. That's why we'll save this for another podcast. But that's why I put him as the greatest of all time over Michael Jordan.
And you know what? You're not gonna get no pushback from me on that. Even though Jordan was a monster on the court.
Of course.
LeBron is definitely going above and beyond just a ball player.
He's much more. And Mike, I don't know. I can't think of nothing. As a shorty, Mike was everything. A shorty.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? But we didn't have access to the social media stuff that we got now to really see what Mike's personality was. Now that we have what we have now, and it's starting to come out that Mike was an a-hole.
Yeah, he was a big a-hole.
You know what I'm saying?
Like,
he was a jerk. Yeah, so I'm starting to see, like, I started to change when Chameleon that came out with that story about him meeting them, and he was like, he kind of blew him off like, hey, I don't sign niggas shoes or something he was saying.
I remember that. Yeah, he called him the N-word and everything.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't think Chameleon ain't gonna lie about something. Nah. Like, he don't come across. And ever since then, I just been kind of like, Mike fake. I don't mess with Mike.
He ain't. I got this to say about Mike. Yo, Mike, you will always be great on the court, but when it comes to social issues, you was quiet. You was too quiet when we needed you, and we need you now, and you still quiet.
Still quiet. Super quiet. He ain't gonna say nothing.
He gonna risk losing no money, and that's the problem. That when it comes to deciding, your people over financial gain, most of us, and I say most of us, take the money.
Yeah,
we all do.
Yeah. So, what about his involvements in the prisons?
Oh man, I don't know. See, I've heard different stories about that. I heard that he is not the same Michael Jordan. But I don't. That's where everybody's investing in right now.
I know, and I've been hearing about that for years.
Yeah, me too.
I've been hearing about that for years. Yeah. Trying to get the Instagram going, so we're gonna keep it going though. But I've been hearing about his prison involvement for years.
Yeah, man. Well, if you think about it, it's a good investment. If you think about money, we feed the prison industrial complex. The truth, whether you agree with it, is the truth. We are the people who rotate the most in and out of it. Yeah. And it's a systematic thing, but at some point we have to stop. And say, nah, I'm not gonna feed them.
But what does that say though about a man that? And I don't know all Mike investments. I don't know what he did as far as what he gave to charity. But you look at LeBron, say, okay, I'm gonna invest in these kids' future because I believe it could be bright. Right. And then Michael George, I'm invested in his prison because I know niggas is gonna, if when you look at it like that, dang, man,
it's
really?
A business decision. Look, tell you the truth, LeBron might take a loss in investing in us. I'm sorry, it's the truth.
Man.
The truth, kids do not. I would say this. I love his investment in the truth. He needs to. We need people who love our children because this system don't love our children.
It don't.
But if you don't control the curriculum, that's what I'm getting kickback from. A lot of people are like, it's cool he built the school, but he might as well have built the jail because it's about what are you programming these kids once you got them.
I'm sure, at least I believe, I would think it's some kind of, you know what I'm saying, it's set up to where, okay, this is what's going to be taught. This, I'm sure he some kind of hands-on with the curriculum.
We won't know. We got to do more investigation. I would like to see. I would like to see what, because if you're still teaching, because I know my niece is still learning Columbus discovered America. Yeah. That hasn't changed. Yeah. So, and they know the truth. So, but that's still what they're being taught.
So, I don't know. Maybe, and then I saw something where they was like, Dr. Umar Johnson.
Oh, yeah. Made him look real bad.
Yeah.
James dropped the money. Where Umar money?
Yeah, I don't know. That's something that we.
Oh man,
it could go. It could get pretty crazy when you look into that. But it almost seems like now you don't. You just get on Facebook and you have so much material.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All this stuff that's going on. I just figured we start that with a positive note with something I thought really was the highlight of my week.
Mine too. I'm not
you know what I'm
lie,
saying? And then to see everybody sharing it, big up and Brian instead of bashing them. That was the highlight of my week. But the turning point happened, and we talking about this. Yeah. You want to get into it first?
And
introduce it.
When men race women.
Yeah.
I mean, if listen, ladies. If I just walked up to a random woman, I mean, she could be athletic and everything, but I'm like, I'm gonna race you up the stairs, and she's just an average a girl. She don't work out, she don't run all the time and stuff. The odds of me, if I work out all the time and stuff, I'm gonna beat her. Not just because I'm a man, because I'm probably more physically active as far as and physically built to run.
Yeah,
but we got children that are, first place, they think they are women. They say they're women. They identify with women, and therefore the school is saying that it's acceptable that they can race women, and I don't think that's fair. My sister pissed off about it. She was so angry. She said, these These children, these guys do not go through menstrual cramps and periods and bloating and all kind of other emotional things that women have that men don't have. Baggage. Yeah. They can focus solely on racing, and they're still physically built like men. They whipping them girls' ass right now.
Yeah. For those that don't know what we're talking about, we watched the clip, and there was a big discussion about how do you pronounce it right? Because they will come for you if you don't. It was a young man transitioning to a woman that was racing in that was at school racing with the female.
Meets.
Yeah,
meets. They're multiple. They're racing consistently against women and winning
in a woman's track meet. And dude was they was dusting. You know what I mean? Like, no disrespect. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody that's in that situation.
It is confusing.
I'm just saying, the transgender lady was dusting everybody. It wasn't even close, and it just brought up the question: is that right? Is that wrong? Where do you stand? What's your views on that? And I was listening to the people take on it. I'm like, if I'm sitting there, do I yell at my daughter and say, you have to work harder, you have to train harder, you have to prepare harder for competing against something that physically God didn't create you to be.
Right, yeah.
I don't see myself yelling at her about that. You know what I'm saying?
And then you gotta think about this as well. Women get boobs, and boobs throw off your timing, and their body continually develops, and it's like they go through changes men don't go through. So it's like to put them in that same category and ask them to produce the same results. It's not fair. It's not fair, but what's not, that's not the part that bothers me. The part is that it's being forced and being told that we don't agree with it. There's something wrong with us. And I don't believe so, because like he said, he have to tell his daughter to work harder. And she like, well, I went from an A cup to a B to a C, and I got to race these dudes who literally got muscles on their neck.
You can't help but feel some kind of way about it. Like, and it's not knocking. I'm not knocking a human. I'm not knocking a person. I'm all about spreading love positively. I'm not knocking somebody on their personal choice. But when it comes to kind of push me this way, I want to be you can never be accepted normal for something that is not normal.
It's not normal.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
see, wait a minute. That's the question. That what's normal? What's within norms? I'm just playing devil's advocate. But
that's
true. What do you define as normal? Because they're gonna ask you.
I guess it goes on what you believe. Right, I believe God created a man and a woman. That's what I believe. That's what I follow.
That's what happened.
Yeah. So that's what I believe. So now when you have people saying, okay, I identify as this or I identify as that. Okay, fine. That's cool if that's what you identify. But I don't go as to say, well, that's wrong. You're going to hell. Or I don't agree with it. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I would feel a certain way if one of my kids would want to do it. I'm raising them to believe this way, but I'm not going to hate against that person. If I somewhere that I can help that person, I help that person. I look at them as much of a normal person as I can, but some people hate it. Some people think it's sick. Some people want to, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's because I believe, but I believe that it becomes a slope now because you introduce other things into that arena. All right, well, if this... First place, these are kids. These kids are not grown. They 16, 15, years old. Yeah. And they're identifying as something that's, like you might say, is not what you were born. It's not normal, but and they're being told it's okay. But see, my question is, I would want to know what the parent of the girl who came in second thinks, because she's probably comes in second consistently because she is the best female technically on that field. You're racing it, but she keeps coming in second to just what she understands to be as a boy.
And it's crazy because I get that the person is saying they identify as a male. I understand that you feel inside you that you are a male, but physically you're a male.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
right.
saying?
You're
no. If you're saying that you're a woman,
right.
you identify as a woman, but you were born a man, so you still have the man strength, the man genetics, the man athletics, like the
testosterone.
Stuff
Too.
Yes,
You still got testosterone.
You know what I'm saying? Most importantly, so it's like it's hard to say what you feel like inside, but physically you performing like a man. Exactly. I don't know if that's I don't know. And then you said something. You was like you start to introduce other stuff.
True.
I think we're beyond that. I think we're so they're just like okay, something. It's just like. You sitting right here at the desk. This is the desk for what I'm gonna introduce into schools, whatever. Yeah. You gotta come to me. It's just like, okay, transgender, go ahead, put it in there. Homosexual, go ahead. It's just like they just introduce it, put it out there, this and that. Ever since the whole little bathroom thing, creating the signs and
what happened with that? I did not get any information on that. What happened with that?
It was just a whole thing where transgender people wanted a bathroom sign they wanted their own bathroom, basically.
I understand. That's
you know what I'm saying, and then now you got the another joint that I saw where they're calling babies. They're not identifying babies.
Whoa, babies?
They're saying, I'm not.
Oh, I think I know. You talking about the babies who are, you don't have any gender. You
don't have, the parents are saying, we're not going to identify our babies. We're going to say they babies or they something. It was something popping off like that. And I read it and I kind of was like, whatever. But,
that's not good though. Because now that confuses our children, because now our children like, well, you look like a boy, and he's like, well, I don't classify myself as a boy. You're like, you're 5. Are you 5 years old talking about what you don't think you is?
Think about all the kids that's normal. Now the parents are creating some weird ass environment for them. I'm a baby coming out normal as hell. I know I'm a dude. I feel like I'm a dude. I see my stuff. I'm a dude. I'm feeling that as a little kid. But the parent is like, no, we're not going to say that because we don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like you creating this whole problem for this kid that never existed because you want to be safe or whatever, however they want to say that they are.
But what's crazy is the environment now because
it's crazy.
Like I said, it's not just they don't live in a bubble. They don't live in a vacuum. Everything you do affects your neighbor.
Yeah,
you know, whether you want to it or not. You know, but if your young woman, you know, your young child, your male child is walking around in a dress and bows and stuff, and the girls is playing jump rope outside, and he comes along talking about something. I want to jump rope too. It's gonna confuse the kids. The kids are gonna be like, "Well, wait a minute. What do we even make of this?"
That's crazy because I had a situation like that. Like I dealt with that firsthand. I want to say a year ago. I was coaching my son's basketball team, and first day of practice, we all out there. You know, kids getting ready, hoop. You know, checking the shoes. You know how little hoopers do. And I get these two kids come in, 2 boys that was brothers, and I noticed one of them had his fingernails painted.
Whoa.
You know what I'm saying? And I kind of, you know, initially your first reaction, you just like, whoa, what's up? This basketball, what's going on? I didn't even know the kid. I didn't know nothing about him. It's my first time meeting him, and I see his fingernails painted, and I believe he had on some pink shoes.
Okay, so what color was the paint nails? Was he at least coordinating the colors with his shoes?
That I don't.
I know. I'm just fucking with you.
I don't. It wasn't nothing crazy like hot pink or nothing.
Okay,
like that, but I did remember.
Maybe, you know,
I did remember they was painting, and he had pink shoes on.
Okay, so he's confused.
And this was the first practice, so I'm just like, you know, wow, what how do I handle this? And I did notice he was a little I'm not gonna say soft. He was just a little more. He wasn't as rough as some of the other boys. Put it that way.
So you're supposed to double team him and press him from the beginning of the court to the end of the court, just to test him and see if you can handle being on my team. Because see, this is how the opposition coach is gonna treat you.
Yeah,
they're gonna press you. You could look at
it. You could look at it like that, but none of that never happened.
No,
it didn't happen. It ended up turning into something like, yo, this is a situation I could teach my son on how. You know, everybody is going to be different. Right, you know what I'm saying? Right. I'm not saying okay, it's okay for you to do this kind of stuff, but you're not gonna put judgment on somebody because they're different. First and foremost, we don't understand. And he ended up being a really dope kid, a really cool kid. Right. I don't know far as like if I would accept it for my child, but he hustled hard. I learned how to talk to him, how to deal with him. And he kind of grew, I wouldn't say grew out of that, but he kind of fit into the culture of playing, basketball.
Gotcha.
I don't know what happened after that, but it was weird.
Right.
It was weird. It was different, but I really ended up liking that kid. He was a cool kid, and it was a lesson learned for everybody involved in it.
See, but this is the thing, too, also, that we got to consider. Also, you put the adults into a situation now, whether they know how to deal with it. You have the the intellect and the compassion and empathy to actually stop and think instead of just
reacting. Yeah.
So but this child got to go out into this world where it's not always going to be protected.
It's not.
You might want to be sure you know who you are.
It's not. That's scary.
It's not be able to move back. And I'm starting to see that as a trend with these kids. That I know a woman right now. Don't say no names, but that's my family. But she's having a baby. She's pregnant right now, but she's also gay. So my thing was like, okay, well, why are you pregnant then? Because that means you have to have sex with a man unless you did it through artificial insemination. And she said no. She took one for the team.
Wow.
And I'm like, wait a minute. She said, because she wanted a child. She took one for the team. See, so this confuses me because it's like, well, because I understand. I'm a big comic book fan. If y'all don't know, I came up in the comic book era, so I understand who Wonder Woman was. And Wonder Woman and the Amazons used to invade men, the towns. They would kill and destroy everything. They would use the men for sexual, just to reproduce. When the kids are born, if they have male kids, the males were either killed off or returned back to whatever surviving members of that village, and they would keep the woman, and they would feed the Amazon. Is this the world we're moving towards?
Wow, I didn't know about it.
That's
I wasn't
Princess
into
Diana, Wonder Woman. Look up comic books, DC.
But so I gotta ask a question about that. She's with another.
She's with a woman. She's in a full-blown relationship with another woman.
So she goes to get pregnant. So they want a family.
They want a family, right?
They want a family.
And I don't know what's gonna happen in that because now when your child grows up to a point of understanding and she's like, or he's like, I want to create a family. It doesn't work the same way for a boy that it does for a woman. Yeah, a boy can't go and just be like, I like men, but I'm going to go impregnate this woman and take it, because.
So, okay. So let's dive into it. And let's just dive into it then real quick. How do you look at it? Like you look at this person in this situation. You know her, you know the other person. Right. You know the environment, regardless that they're two women, right. You know the environment, you know their surroundings.
Right.
Because it's two women, do you look at it and say, that's an unsafe environment to raise this kid? And do you look at it like that? Or do you look at it and say, you know what? I know this kid, regardless that there's two women, I know this kid is going to be brought up in a loving environment. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we... diffuse to, like, how do we, you know what I'm saying?
I couldn't even tell you, bro, because I don't know what to even make. Like I said, I'm in a state of confusion still that you took one for the team because I'm like, so now we dealing with Amazons? Y'all coming, y'all take the semen, and then y'all discard men? It's like, that's the world we moving towards now.
Imagine that session, though. Imagine, like, what would she do?
No making no faces, straight ice grilling. She don't make you no sandwich after you finish.
Back. She ain't got her clothes off or nothing. She just
hurry up. Get it over with. Is this the world? I don't want to live in that world.
How many times did it have to pop off before it popped off?
But see, honestly, in my opinion, I think that it's more than that. I think that she kind of limits it. I don't know whatever relationship she might have had because I'm not a psychologist. I can't offer professional, but I'm like I think that just from my experience dealing with women and I have a lot of gay women friends as well. So just coming up, understand that it is lot of it stems out of past relationships, maybe
Yeah.
child abuse. So, whether she using it or you using it, but a penis makes the entrance into that relationship at some point in the relationship. So it ain't even about the penis. It's about the men. Their relationship with the men is the problem, but they love the D.
It's crazy like that. Like, you know what? That's a podcast right there.
Yeah, we need to get in that.
I would like to know. We did one with a transgender before.
Oh,
I would like to know, like where does all that come from? Like, is it completely like I'm straight females? That's it. No, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. They get really upset and offended when, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have no. People can ask me questions about being different. It's cool, but when it comes to that, they get real sensitive, and I'm like, man, it's all love. Like, I respect and treat everybody the same way. You know what I'm saying? But it does have to come a point to where you're just curious. You want to know.
You want to know. I mean, and I'm coming to a conclusion where I'm moving less about what they're offended by, because sometimes the truth gotta be said, and I run into a lot of women who don't like to hear the truth, period. Whether it's about what and it's men too, because men are also stubborn and pig-headed. But I've encountered a lot of women who just don't want to hear the truth. They like, no, I don't want to hear what you think, and I don't care what you think. I'm going to do what I want. And then when they get in screwed up situations, they need help. And it's like, but you could have avoided all that if you just listened.
All of it if you just listen. Then I look at it like, I just simplify and look at it this way. I'm not, man, you have to stand by what you say. I can't try to please. I look at it the way I look at it, like this. God, the way that it was made to reproduce, you need a woman.
Right.
You need a man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay, you feeling like you love a man, you want to be with a man, but you got to go to find a woman. You got to squeeze a woman in that equation some way in order for y'all to make this abnormal thing. You know what I'm saying? Normal. You have to figure out a way. So you know what I'm saying? So let's just do two females. Two females. You want to have a baby. You want to have a family. Oh, I want to be a mom. Oh, I want to be a mom, dad, mom, or whatever it is that you.
It's
know
confusing.
What I'm saying?
You're right.
It's confusing.
Who's
you
the
want to
man?
be that. What do you have to do that? You have to go through some way, artificial insemination,
right? Or
you got to go find a dude to take one for the team.
There you go. And I don't like that term, take one for the team, because it's very insensitive. And it's just insensitive.
That's what they have to do.
I would hate to be the dude that was the team.
Yeah.
That was the one she had to take one. Like, really? You ain't even enjoying that? I put in a lot of work.
I know.
I tried.
And
I tried to please you.
What if it's the manly one that has to,
Oh, no. See, then somebody else gonna take one for the team. I'm not wrestling around with those dudes stronger than me.
In most cases, it's like that. And then that's why I didn't even think the podcast would get to this point, but I'm curious to hear feedback and for people to say what.
Put
and
in the comments.
Please explain it to us. We just want to know. So what if it's like, okay, in most situations, I rarely see a girly woman and a girly woman as two gays. I don't see that as much. I always see a girly woman and like a woman that's like dressed like a man.
Yeah, which confuses me
Very
too.
confusing.
How you don't like man, but you like looking like man?
Yeah.
That is confusing too.
It's super confusing.
Because it's the same thing you would get from a man. If you got a man who don't like women, but he spent all his time pretending to be a woman, that's I don't like the state of confusion we are falling into. I got to second guess everything I say now because they got Z's and X's and the child don't have a gender specific and these parents are freaking crazy.
And like I say, the podcast is open to anybody. We talking about our opinions, our ideas. We trying to figure out certain stuff. So yeah, like you look at that kind of stuff and you wonder.
Dude, I wonder if they know what the hell going on. Explain it.
You see it, and most of the time they cut their hair all off. They look like a man. They wear jeans and they dress up like a man. And they're like, yeah, this is my girl.
Like what?
What is it like? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You know what? Next podcast, I would like to have. Or any podcast in the future, I would like to have a woman that's dating a woman that's into a woman to just sit here and answer some of these questions that we have. You know, about the whole situation.
Does it matter if the feminine one or the masculine one? You can get both in here probably, because I know if she's in a relationship, it may be, if she's a feminine one,
either one. I would just want to ask and be like, just because we ignorant to the situation.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm ignorant. I don't know. I don't know no better. So I'm only asking questions that just come to mind, like, what was it that, got you going this way?
We just feeling around in the dark. Is that a boob? That's a cock? I don't know.
What is it? What happened? So we have to wrap the podcast.
It was an interesting topic, but when you do get them, I'm gonna sit over there and take notes like this because I want to learn.
But you're not gonna put me in the middle of the fire. You're gonna get out here. And we'll just have them host it.
That would be interesting too. I'm gonna be having mad questions.
just to see, because everybody's open to this pain. I want to know, and we didn't even get on the pedophile.
Yo, that needs to be its own. Yo, listen,
that's
crazy. That's next. Yo, because then you know what comes after that. I think animalism. What do you call it?
Bestiality.
Yeah, because it's like, where else do you go? You didn't cover the whole spectrum.
It's some serious stuff that finna pop off on Life Music.
Marry my cat.
We remember you sent me that video.
Yeah.
What was it? Months ago about Chicken Hawk.
Oh yeah,
about that it's a document.
Oh yeah, you better watch
Life
these
Music
old perverts.
And everything else. We literally. Our mission is to start bringing the real.
Tell the real,
bringing the real on some of these situations. So we need to be cautious and aware of who our kids are around.
Yes,
what neighborhoods we live in. If you don't know your neighbors, if you ain't peeping out and scope the stuff out, man. Yes. Don't just let your kids just be out here because there's some sick individuals.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Yep. Around here. That's why I tell my wife, I don't want my daughters going out in no short crap. Put clothes on them. Don't have my babies out there in that kind of, you know what I'm saying? Because there's sick people out here.
Sick. And you never know where it's coming from.
You never know. You just never know. Sleepovers are a thing of a past. Back in the day, shout out all my homies that used to come over and we used to stay the night and kick it in grandma's crib.
What?
It was
playing Nintendo all night long, bro. To the morning. We played no games. Night.
In the basement, just getting it in.
Man, that was when you could trust people.
Yeah, you could trust people. Not no more.
Man.
Can I have no sleepover? No, we don't do sleepover. It's just, and it's tough because that's the stuff that takes away from the kids.
That's what made us kids, bro. Yeah. That's what kept us children. We had friends and trust. And
outside
we had that
playing
and cartoons. Saturday morning cartoons. They took that too.
Yeah, no, they got so much other stuff on these laptops and these tablets.
My nieces never look up off their phone to look at the TV.
That's crazy. Saturday morning cartoons will be the only time you catch us. Saturday morning cartoons and TGI Friday.
Yes,
will be the only time you catch us for multiple hours.
Yeah,
unless it was a game.
Yeah.
Multiple hours just sitting there chilling. We outside, we on a bike, we on a big wheel.
Yup.
We walking to the corner store. We just out in the alley playing basketball on the milk.
On the milk carton.
Times have changed. You know what I'm saying? Maybe now we need to start diving into that. We need to start open a Life Music and Everything Else series to where we're going to explore the difference in how things have changed from our childhood to this childhood.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Life Music and Everything Else. Thank you so much for checking us out. Hopefully we stayed on schedule. Shout out to Mr. Provocative BOE. Go join the channel. Thanks for having me on your channel.
Yes, sir.
Subscribe to each other. It's the simple click of a button. You know what I'm saying? To show support to another person that you may know or if you may be interested in. It's a simple click of a button. There's a gesture of saying, you know what? I support what you're doing. Best of luck and everything. You don't have to check out a video. But, I'm going to subscribe to do that. That's simple. So that's all that we ask is subscribe to the link. Like I said, shout out to my sponsor, Escape Star Visions. If there any kind of video production that you need, please go to the site on the description and mention Life Music and Everything Else. 15% off. You know what I'm saying?
It'll be in my description, too, for Mr. Provocative.
Life Music and Everything Else. We out. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. See you next week.
Next week. One.